Wisconsin. And Governor, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Good to be with you, Chris.
Those 14 Democrats who fled Wisconsin to block a vote in the state Senate say they'll come back if you'll sit down with them and work out a compromise, and the deal would be that the unions agree on the money issues, but they keep their collective bargaining rights. Governor, are you willing to do that?
Well, no. First off, those Senate Democrats should realize if you want to participate in democracy, you got to be in the arena. And the arena is right here in Madison, Wisconsin. It's not hiding out in Rockford, Illinois, or Chicago, or anywhere else out there. Democracy means you show up and participate. And they failed to do that. They're walking out on their job. They're doing, which contrasts to the many, many thousands, almost 300,000 state and local workers across Wisconsin who, despite those protesters, most of them showed up and did their job like they're paid to do. For us, this is about balancing the budget. We've got a $3.6 billion budget deficit. We're broke, just like nearly every other state across the country we're broke. It's about time somebody stood up and told the truth. And the only way for us to balance the budget, not only at the state level, but at the local level, is to make sure we give those local governments the tools they need to balance the budget, and that's what we're proposing.
Yeah, but I don't understand. If it's a money issue in balancing the budget and they're willing to concede on the money issues, why isn't that enough? Why do you also have to take back some of their collective bargaining rights?
Well, and they aren't, because in the end they can say that, but that's really a red herring. These same groups back in December after the election, before I was sworn in, tried to ram through, literally in a lame duck session, employee contracts that would have locked things in before I got there. So they're not really interested in it. But more critically, I was a county executive, an elected official in Milwaukee County, a county that's never elected a Republican before. I was there for three different elections because we tried to tackle these very same issues. And what stood in the way time and time again was collective bargaining. We've got over 1,000 municipalities, 424 school districts, about 72 counties in this state, all of which need to have the power to be able to offset what's going to happen in Wisconsin next week, just like New York and California, everybody else has been doing, and that's cutting billions of dollars from local governments. The difference is, unlike those other states, I want to give those local governments the tools they need to balance the budget now and in the future. They can't do that with the current collective bargaining laws in this state.
Governor, I understand it's the Senate Democrats who took off, but how long are you willing to let this standoff go on? And what would you think of the legislature voting that the Senate Democrats are in contempt of the legislature and therefore what they're doing is a crime?
Well, on the latter part, my hope is that cooler minds will prevail, and by sometime earlier this coming week, they'll show up for their job. I've said all along the best way to motivate senators to come back is for constituents in their districts, regardless of how they feel about the budget repair bill, to tell the senators to show up and do their job.
But what if they don't come back,
That's really what they're paid to do. Well, we're going to look at every option out there, but I'm an optimist. I'm realistic about our challenges, but optimistic about our solutions, and I believe we've got a path that allows us to have everybody come back and vote. There's going to be plenty of time to have the debate. They can make their case. They can make their argument, but democracy is not about hiding out in another state. It's about showing up here in the Capitol and making the case there, and for us, we're willing to take this as long as it takes, because in the end, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing for Wisconsin. We're leading the way, as we did in the past in Wisconsin, on reform. We're leading the way again when it comes to budgetary reform. And for us, we have to do this. Again, we've had, for decades, we've had leaders, Republicans and Democrats alike, who pushed off the problems. Well, there's no place to push them off to. 2 years ago, my predecessor and many of the same majority Democrats at that time who are now hiding out pushed through a budget that took $2 billion of one-time federal stimulus money and used it to balance their budget for Medicaid and school aid deficits. They didn't make the tough decisions then. We're going to make them now because we have to get the state's economy going again and to get our budget balanced.
President Obama stepped into this controversy this week. Let's look at what he said.
Some of what I've heard coming out of Wisconsin, where you're just making it harder for public employees to collectively bargain generally, seems like more of an assault